Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome back. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. Can you confirm if you can hear me? Good morning, everyone. Excellent. Excellent. That's great. Good. Okay, let's have more confirmations. Yeah, someone said I can hear you loud and clear. Good to know. Monigo, thank you. Hamidu, good morning, sir. That's great. Good to know that you're still there. Great, Christian. Thank you very much. Thank you, Oyin. Thank you, Kamaldeen. Okay, we will start in a moment. And just before we take off, okay, can I still have a little bit more confirmation? I want to be sure that different locations can hear us and see us fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I welcome us to this session. All right, my name is Fred. We appreciate that you've been here. We all have been here since yesterday. And we thank you for being part of the program, the various sessions that we have had, and much more to go. Today, we will be, in this session, we'll be looking at harvest to markets. Harvest to markets. The business of agro-logistics and market linkages. Like we know, this is the program promoted, supported by the PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5. And we are looking at the business of agriculture Masterclass 3.0. I like to call it BAM 3.0. Business of Agriculture BOA Master 3.0. Like I said, my name is Fred Mugu. I work with New Nigeria Foundation as a senior programs manager. So far, we have covered some sections, and they actually have been quite enriching. For me, it's been very enriching. I was almost thinking that PSAG can just do this, and we remain with them here for just a moment, please. Sorry, can you still hear me? There was an interruption. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you very much. So we've had the sessions. We thank you for joining. For those who didn't participate in the last sessions yesterday and even this morning, you can get those sessions on the various platforms. It's on YouTube, and we also have it on Facebook. Just subscribe to the channels and you would have those that we have already done. That so this
Sorry, I can hear you again.
Is it better? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Oye, can
back.
you hear me?
We can hear you.
Excellent, excellent. So I was saying that we've heard so much about markets. Today we are bringing in people to address the issue of harvest to market. Yesterday, the sessions this morning is all about do you have the market? Do you have you understood the market? So today, this session, we want to look at that. But before we go into that, let me quickly just do a quick housekeeping. Like we have said, would like you to drop your comments. For those on the Zoom platform, please drop your comments use the question and answer session to ask your questions. Please don't use the chat box so that we don't lose them out. We really want to hear from you. So please use the Q&A box. For those on YouTube and Facebook, use the comment section. And of course, while we are in while we're running the program throughout the sessions, and in particular this session, we should be mindful of the exchanges or the personal contacts we share with others, so that we do not fall into any hands. Is a house of a mixed multitude. There's so many people, there are over 4,000 people that registered for this program, and many are attending. All right, so having said that, I would like us to please do us a favor. I want you to do one thing. Please give us your expectations from this session. Type into the chat box your expectations for this session. That way it will help us, and it will help our facilitators to address you in person, to address your issues in person. Please put down your expectations. Hello, can we have them? Yeah, thank you. Go on. Let's have them. Okay, I see your comment. I think that has been addressed. I think I'm audible now. Someone was talking about being audible. Can you hear me out? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Excellent.
I can hear you loud.
So maybe it's from the participant's location. Someone says, I want to be able to know about finding how to go up finding my market, or the essentials of market research. Someone wants to know how to find his market. Yes, that's fine. You'll be addressed here. Can we have more of your expectations? Let's have that. Okay, so while we're taking that, I would like us to please know that we want to take a poll now. Oh, okay, so that's fine. We will, because of time, understand that we will take the poll later. So let's have the expectations, and then we can move on to our next line of item. Okay, so thank you very much. So without much ado, as they say, we've come to the point where we will hear from the experts. Those we want to do justice to this recurring question, comment, market, market, market. Here today we have two people who have conquered it, who have used whose skill have been applied to do just that. And they want to give us, to make our journeys shorter, whether as new entrants to agriculture, or we've been in it for some time. They will give us some nuggets as to how we can handle this and make our experience, our learning curve shorter. So I would like at this point to introduce our facilitators for this section. Can we have that on the screen? Hello, can we share the screen? Okay, so while that is coming up, I would like to introduce our two facilitators for today. All right, the first, if you can see the screen, I would like to introduce our two facilitators. The first one is Ms. Oyin Ashoju, and we also have Mr. Kamaldeen. Let me begin with with Oyin. Oyin is a food security consultant with 10 years of experience working in access to markets. Please, this is important to all of us. Access to markets. And she's been involved in project management and rural development. She's currently the founder of Farm Republic and managing partner at Admiralty Farmers Market. She has appeared on several panel discussions and is a seasoned panelist and moderator. Her journey into food and agriculture started in 2013 at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, Ibadan. She has since worked with organizations such as World Hunger Fighters Foundation, Julius Berger Nigeria, Harvest for Women Limited, the Roddenberry Foundation, and projects for USAID, Mercy Corps, African Development Bank, etc. Okay, let me also take for our second facilitator, Mr. Kamaldeen Raji. Mr. Raji has got guiding strategic sales and agriculture to affect clients in a variety of industries, markets, and the commodities ecosystem. In his role as the MD, he is responsible for striking the balance between production, sourcing, and demand, whilst maintaining a top-notch class in quality as warehouse operations are concerned in Nigeria. So please join me to welcome our two facilitators here by showing some love to them. You can use your emoji at this point. If we were together, we would say a round of applause. But virtually, we can do this, achieve the same thing. So let's please give a round of applause to our facilitators this morning that will help us go to the market and do our sales. Thank you very much. Yes, some more. Show some more love. Thank you. I like that. Okay. Having taken that, we want to go straight into learning from them. And at this point, I really want us to listen very carefully to them. Those that are successful, the first and number one thing they can do for us is to give us their stories, and then we learn and run with it. So this morning, like I said, let's give attention to what they will tell us, because market is very important in the business of agriculture and indeed for every entrepreneur. So at this point, let me take Oyin. Are you there for me? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Excellent.
Good morning. Thank you
Good
very
morning.
much.
Good to hear
Yes.
from you. I'm
Thank
so
you.
privileged to have you talk to us this morning.
It's an
Now,
opportunity.
I would like you to start this way. There has been a lot of stories through the journey. Challenges may have occurred and all that. But the reason for the program 3.0, the program this time, in particularly 3.0, is for us to bring out opportunities so that people can learn how certain things were dealt with, how challenges were dealt with. Of course, if you live, especially in this part of the world, there will be so many stories, so many challenges, but we brought you to tell us so much about the opportunities that exist and how you dealt with and became successful. So please, I'd like you to, at this point, help us understand the challenges to the farmer, but more importantly, the opportunities in terms of taking the produce to the market competitively, the margins, the main challenges, as I said, not necessarily dwelling so much on them, but more how you dealt with them. The floor is yours, Oyin.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, PSAG, for the opportunity to be here. It's a great privilege also to speak to the people in the audience, and as well, my co-panelist, Mr. Kamaldeen. Speaking about challenges and how we've been able to overcome, I'd say that it's a journey, it's a continuous thing. You keep overcoming the challenges. It's just important that when you fail early enough so that you don't, so that the cost of the failure is not so grave that you now begin to think of quitting your entire business or quitting being in the agriculture space. There was a time I worked in Port Harcourt. We had a farm, a vegetable farm, and we got there. We believe that truly people in Port Harcourt consume a lot of vegetables. And then we decided to plant ugu. But when we planted, we did not go and seek information from the people that would take this produce. We assumed that they would just uptake it because it's consumed by them. And the ugu was ready, went to the market, and they told us, no, this is not the type of ugu that we consume here. I was working in Ibadan before I moved to Port Harcourt. So it was that type of ugu that was consumed in Ibadan that we went to sell or went to produce when we got to Port Harcourt. And that, made everything to go to waste, or a large quantity of it. And then we had to sell at a giveaway price because they did not want it and things like that. So it made me realize that marketing or finding your market is an integral part of production. A lot of people make this mistake. As you are producing, as you're putting seed to ground, you must already find your market. Who is going to buy this thing from you? Is it the person in your community? Is it the person next street? Is it the people in the open markets? Is it for export? Is it going to be interstate? So these are questions that people need to ask and answer in the course of production. Just yesterday, a farmer called me and said, oh, we have this and this to sell right away, and please, can you offtake it? No, we cannot offtake it. It's too sudden. You cannot produce, and then on the day of your harvest, you are calling for market. It doesn't work that way, because you need to prepare the people that are offtaking from, who is going to offtake it from you at that point, so that you are not at a disadvantage, and because you are in a hurry to sell, because if you don't sell it, it goes to waste, and then you sell at a giveaway price. And this is why a lot of farmers or a lot of producers lose money. So it's important to note that marketing or finding your market must come as you put seed to ground. there must be somebody waiting, or some persons or some channels, waiting to offtake your produce. Now, in terms of opportunities, there are quite a number of opportunities in markets, in marketing in agriculture. Now, the good thing is you don't even have to be a primary producer to be in the marketing business. You can be a primary producer and get somebody to handle your marketing or handle your sales. It's different. Those are two different value chains in the agri space. It's fantastic if you're able to do both. But if you decide to focus on marketing of farm produce, you need to ascertain your source, because when people buy from you, they don't think about the farmer. So if there's anything wrong with that produce, it's on your business, and then you can lose. You want to say something? Sir, I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Before I let you go deeper into the opportunities, there is something that will be very helpful to our audience, and that is that if you can just tell us briefly, how did you start? How did you venture into value chain? And how far have you come?
Okay, I started in 2013 as a sales and marketing associate when I worked at the International Institute of Agriculture. We had some farm produce, and we also had some processed products that we had to commercialize. So that's my background, in the agri space, sales and marketing. And from there, I've been able to grow to working with farmers, cluster of farmers, to sell their produce across states, or even in Lagos, majorly, where we actually do our produce. So the journey has been rocky, definitely. It has been rocky because there's so many things that affect food in Nigeria, so many things, from roads to storage to, to forex, so many things, because even the food that we plant, some of the inputs is imported. So a lot of these things affect the marketing of agri produce. I tell some people as a joke that we don't eat food in Nigeria. What we eat is logistics, because the cost of moving food from a farm in Ogun State or a farm in Ondo State to Lagos, or a farm in Sokoto and what have you, is almost times two, if not more in most cases, than the cost of that food. So many things affect, the marketing of agri produce, but we have to keep adjusting and keep readjusting to ensure that as a person in business, whether you're a primary producer or a marketer, you are still maintaining a level of profit in your business. So yes, that has been it so far for me.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Now, you have mentioned some of those logistical issues in just maybe one line or two. How have you overcome them?
So now, so for produce like vegetables, we do not offtake vegetables from long distance farms, because we're trying to reduce the distance and also maintain the quality of the produce. So for our customers, for example, in Lagos, we offtake from farmers in places like Ekpe, places like Ikorodu. There's a lot of vegetable farming that goes on there. So you have to look at the products that you're trying to offtake. If he spends 2 days on the road, what's going to happen? That is if you're trying to get directly from farmers. So we group some of these commodities to say, okay, for vegetables, let's offtake from farms close by. For things like yam, we go as far as Benue to bring in the yams. For things like potatoes, we go as far as Jos to bring in the potatoes. So it's a matter of grouping your commodities and ensuring that when they come in, they don't come in bad, because they will most likely not come in a cold storage bus. It's going to be like the typical truck or the typical vehicle that transports passengers. So you have to really consider all of those when you're trying to uptake and be a marketer in the agri space.
Excellent. I will come back to the issue of off-taker. As you have mentioned, it's one area that a lot of people viewing right now and listening to you will want to understand a bit more. But let me just quickly make a little switch, and then I'll still come back to you. Kamaldeen, let me come to you now. I know you are quite experienced. I know that you are doing a lot in as a corporate organization. In the work you do, and I know you cover different areas. Let me also take you through the first questions I asked Oyin. How can people, what's the ability? How can they assess the market from your own perspective? Usually the challenges to the farmers we know, but how can they, in the midst of that, the ability to assess the market, to sell their produce at competitive price with profitable margins? If you can.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fred. I hope I can be heard very well. Am I clear?
Well.
Yeah, thank you. Well. Thank you for the question, and thank you everyone, the audience, and Oyin, well done. I think the business as a whole, linkage to markets, it's all about solving like three issues, key issues, apart from solving the first product, the problem of production, which is how do you get the fertilizer, how do you get the education, which is more of agronomy, then where to sell to. Then this logistics to market linkage is to solve three things. One is the power of logistics, that is being able to get to places. Then the power of storage, that's the problem of time. Then the power of processing, that is the form. And when we talk about this, we are talking about how you ensure that whatever you are producing gets the attention of both local and international buyers. I'm saying this because if we check very well, some of our yams are going outside of Nigeria. And how do you meet up with international market specifications? Some of our soybeans in the recent past, if you see agro-commodities of our foreign earnings, in this last season, you will notice that soybeans has moved up. Unlike when we just have a very few individuals that are doing this. But now we have the attention of the Middle Eastern states and some other European states coming into Nigeria to come and lock in non-GMO soybeans. And that called the attention of what do you produce? So what are you producing? Who are you producing for? Just like what you said earlier, if you are producing for a particular clientele class, then do you need to conscientize them? Do you need to pre-inform them? Because what if whatever I want to eat must not come from an agrochemical production site? And I have to work and solve the problem of traceability and sustainability. What is the problem of doing mass production against little consumption? And all of those are the things that we need to check. Then you need to be deliberate and historical about how these commodities have performed over the years. Cocoa and sesame has always been the best forex earners for Nigeria in the agro space. Soybeans joined them recently. And if you check that, are you aggregating sesame? Who do you look at? Can you check all the dynamics around it? Where do you play at? Today, Nigeria, out of Africa, it seems to be the attention of the world for sesame. But where are you? If you are around the Bauchi, Yobe, Gombe, Jigawa belts, up to Taraba and Benue, Lafia, where do you play with your sesame? Because Ethiopia, Sudan, that used to be the champion from Africa, they're having issues. Every attention is on Nigeria for our production. Nigeria and Niger used to merge up to say this is Nigeria before now. Niger is indirectly out of it because of the issues, the international diplomatic war that is going on. Then how do you play yourself? How do you place yourself? How do you play it well? And what problem are you solving? So that is very key. So when you have to look at all of this, then you have to look at where do you go? How do you go about it? Who are you selling to? Just like I said earlier. Today, everybody's looking at production. Agric is the new oil, but what side of agric are you solving for? If you check, Oyi said this earlier, that if you want to move Irish potato from Plateau to Lagos, how many days? And remember, there's no cold storage. At least our brick and mortar storage is a bit here, let's say, on the MBS radar, we have less than 2 million or 3 million capacity. And what are you doing? Because like not less than 40% of whatever we produce after handling and everything are lost to post-harvest handling. And you are here, you have to account for what you have expended on 1 hectare of land in producing maize, for an example. In the last 1 year, you should be speaking to like 250, 330,000 naira for those that are a bit conservative because you have land and whatever. But do you think that your production will be able to cover all your costs? So do you have a problem to solve? Yes. How do you play well to make sure that all these problems are being solved rightly? Because you will have supplied like a flour mill in Ibadan today and said you have a truck of maize, and it will get there. You will have calculated your price. It's okay, from Kaduna to Ibadan, logistics is costing like 800,000 thereabout. If you divide that by 30 metric tons, that's like 28,000, between 25 28,000 naira per ton. You have it to the cost of maize as of today playing around 330 thereabout. If you had it up, you have like 370 handling and some other things. You want to look for a margin. You want to look for a margin too. Then are you selling right? When it gets to the location, they are checking for everything. What did you do in the market? Moisture is a consideration. Moisture content, percentage broken grain is a consideration. What problem are you solving? Which role are you playing? Everybody cannot be a primary producer. Everybody cannot be a marketer. Some people will need to play the logistics manager's role. Some people will need to play some other roles. And how do you do all of this? How do you solve all of this problem and put it in a bigger basket that can be consumable by everybody? And that was why I spoke to form the other time, that the process and forms that it is coming in. Some other commodities needed to be first handled well. When they are well handled, you need to do first layer of processing by yourself. For example, ginger, you need to pre-clean to meet. If you are sending it out of Nigeria, even within Nigeria local market, you still need to meet up with percentage moisture, cleanliness, and all of those. Then if you play all this well, will the attention of the world be shifted to you? Then you now move to solving the problem of traceability, to say, oh, if the world is moving to this today, we are well acquainted and I'm ready for the market, for the world to come. We have over 7 billion people to feed in the world. We have not less than 1.4 or 1.5 billion people to be fed in Africa. What is your 3 or 6 metric tons of maize produced from 1 hectare of land doing, and what sales point do you have?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so very much. I like it when we were talking about the three powers. You called it the power of logistics. You talked about the power of storage, and you talked about the power of form. I was actually coming back to that power of form, and good thing you spoke a bit more about it. In the course of this, I will still come back for you to talk about that power of form a little bit more, because that's an aspect that we've heard of our products being rejected, some of those issues along the path. So for for a young entrepreneur, for a new person going into agriculture or into, in particular, to bridge a gap between harvest and market. That form, knowledge of that form, knowledge, having that power of what to do relating to the various layers, if I use the word, various layers of that form will be very important. Thank you so very much for that. Let me come back to you again, Oyi. I want you to make us understand, indeed, the audience listening to you, you talked about off-taker. I need you to explain something a bit more before I go to the next question. You talked about how someone called you, I have this, can you off-take, if I may use that expression? But you said it was sudden. So there is an issue about suddenness about the business you do. So a farmer has, if I say off-taking, will you be right to say that off-taking is usually a challenge? A farmer has an agreement with an off-taker. He farms during the season, and when it is time for harvest, the farmer disappears. What are the possible opportunities to bridge this gap? You know, some people have this experience, and in the course of your business, I presume, or I know that you must have come across this kind of challenge and how you dealt with it, and then to prevent the losses, as you talked about before, from happening, so that the farmer does not lose all his harvest and investment. From your experience with Farm Republic, how have you been able to bridge this gap?
Thank you very much, Mr. Fred, again, and thank you, Kamaldeen, for that very brilliant contribution. I learned a lot myself. Speaking about off-taking, yes, there's a big issue with the suddenness. For example, if you have maize to sell, for example, because maize is a commodity that is traded, maize, cashew, you know, things like that, it's important that you give at least 4 weeks, and that's the minimum, 4 weeks notice to whoever you think can uptake that produce. Even if I said earlier that finding your market has to be included in your production process, it must be included. Not that you're harvesting tomorrow, you are calling the off-taker, this is what I want to, you're already in a desperate position. It puts you at a disadvantage. And that's why a lot of farmers lose money. At that point, you cannot command a fantastic price. If they tell you that this is what they want to buy, because you need to let it go, and then you let it go. And at the end of the day, you say, agric is not profitable. Also, agriculture is a business of strategy. Agriculture is a business of strategy. You know, a lot of people say, oh, for example, there's money in cashew. I've had people call me, oh, I want to go into cashew, I want to uptake cashew, I want to do this, do that. You need to have a basic knowledge of anything you want to do in agriculture, and you need to be strategic, you know, because a lot happens in the field that you do not know. If you are, for example, in the cashew industry, if you are not a titan, let me use that word, you really will be swept off. So yes, it's fantastic. It looks glossy from the outside, you know, cashew this, cashew that. It's a business of volume, generally. Agric is a business of volume. You know, it's a business of scale. Some businesses are not, with the little that you do, you can, you know, move up the ladder. But with agriculture, it's a business of scale. For us, how have we been able to overcome this suddenness? We still get it. I mean, somebody still called me yesterday. So we say that now you want to offtake your produce, you have to let us know ahead of time, depending on what the produce. If it's fresh vegetables, you can tell us 7 days, 3 days ahead. If it's things like maize or maybe cashew, or it has to be a month or more, you know, ahead of your harvest or ahead of when it is going to be ready. So it's important for farmers or primary producers to integrate always your market in your production process. Is as good as, or is as important as the seed that you put to ground. Because when you produce, you don't produce for yourself, especially when you are in business. You don't produce for yourself. You're not a subsistence farmer. You're producing for commerce. And so that's why you need to, who is going to buy this thing from you? A lot of people are carried away with the fact that Nigeria has 200 million people, and then you feel like, oh, let me see, give or take, 150 million consume rice. Oh, so when I produce my rice, this and that. No, it does not work that way, because you need to consider your volume. You need to consider your scale. You need to consider your location. Have you considered the logistics of moving it from where you are to those 150 million Nigerians, which is impossible, because you are not the only one producing rice. And is that the type of rice that is consumed in all locations in Nigeria? So these are questions when you are, when you are talking about market, people of taking from you. And there are some produce that you need to consider culturally that are not consumed in certain cultures. So a lot of moving parts when it comes to finding your market, culture, your volume, your logistics, your skill, and then your knowledge of the business itself. So these are some of the things that must be considered. Agriculture is not a joke. A lot of people might look at it like, oh, the farmer is not educated and all of that, but it's not a joke. It's serious, real business, and people need to always have that at the back of their minds. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Just as you have mentioned, just in the course of your explaining earlier on, and even now you mentioned it in part, you brought in some factors, some macroeconomic factors. Earlier on, you talked about roads, storage, exchange rate, and all that. But I'd like you to drill down a little bit more. Can you give us precisely your experiences, how you are dealing with, because for a logistics or for someone bridging a gap between the harvest and the market, some macroeconomic issues will hit you straight in the face, and especially at this time. How are you able to deal with such thing as increased fuel price as we speak? How are you dealing with increased fuel price, fluctuations in interest rates, fluctuations in particular in inflation rates? How are you able to deal with such?
Thank you very much. So I would say that I am in business to make money, and I believe everybody on this call, if you are in the agri business, you are in business to make money. I hear a lot of people say that, oh, now that the price of this has increased, I cannot increase my price. I don't want my customers to run away. No, your customers must eat. That's number one. And two, it is not your fault that the price of oil has gone up. And so you need to always review, because everybody has to adjust. I mean, when you go to the fuel station to get fuel, do they tell you that we are not going to increase the price because we don't want you to feel bad and all of that? No. There's no need to add sentiments to business. Business is business. When you see that factors are affecting your business that make your prices go up, then you need to readjust. You need to adjust the prices. It's painful. It's a sad situation right now that, we can't even, the price of something today is different from what it will be tomorrow. You cannot even, nothing is fixed anymore. You cannot predict it. You cannot say, oh, this will be the price by next week or anything like that. So you need to also let your customers understand, things like this, that prices are fluctuating, from the inputs, even from the point of input supply. It's expensive, it's going up, there's nothing you can do about it. The farmer has to plant, you have to move the produce, and it costs money to do all of these things. So when you look at all these factors, you need to put it in your business. You need to put it in your business and not say, oh, my customers, I don't want my customers to be unhappy. No, if your customers are unhappy, then how do you continue to, make money, as a business? You are in business to make money. That is the first thing. Every other thing else can follow. So that is it. We readjust, we review from time to time. with these factors affecting the cost of food.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. I truly get that from the practitioner's perspective. Readjust, you said, very important. And then bring in the factors, build in all the factors and see how you put it into the business. And of course, you're in business to make money. Thank you so much. Kamadin, I want to come back to you. Like I said, I would like you to speak a little bit more on the issue of logistics of farm. This is one area that we have seen, even literature has told us, people's experiences have also shown that some people have to, they abandon, let me use the word, either at the wharves or wherever, they abandon everything altogether. So please, can you break it down a little bit for us, for those who are here, how they can deal with the issue of, let me use your word, the power of form?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Fred. Thank you. So when we talk about the power of form, we are talking about two things: processing into intermediates and final products. And when you are processing to intermediate, what are you solving for? Let me give an hypothetical example of what has happened in the past. Have you checked that before 2019, Nigerians only consumed their beer from all these breweries, and but the sorghum that was used in producing this was not sourced from Nigeria. So when they needed to do all of this, there was a government pronouncement on something related to this, and the complaint was that Nigerians does not meet up with the type of conditions needed for this kind of sorghum to be off-taken by the breweries in Nigeria. So there was an introduction from different research institutes, which include the production of production and commercialization of aflatoxin. I think that came from IITA with one or two indigenous companies in Nigeria. So when you get something to be able to reduce one or two forms of infestation in whatever you produce, you are solving for one of these problems. One, the breweries needed a sorghum that is consumable by the market as a whole. Unlike the sorghum the sorghum we are used to as locals, like a smallholder farmer like myself, is the red type. But the breweries are not looking for the red type of sorghum. They are looking for the white and the yellow. First, there was an introduction of the yellow type into the market. That's the seed. Then from the seed, there's an aflatoxin infestation on the increase at that point in time across Nigeria due to the way we handle our production. Then there was an introduction of an aflatoxin, which reduces toxin infestation in sorghum and makes any crop consumable for human. Then this has to go straight into primary production. So what we did at that point in time as a company, Apex, was one, we identified farmers that are into sorghum production. Hardly you see in the corn nuts, hardly you see a farmer that does maize and is not combining it with sorghum and white cowpea. That's the beans we eat. So you now introduce the aflatoxin. I'm making sure that there's an outreach armlet of this whole thing to be able to follow up with all of this production. You just don't give farmers input. Today we give input to farmers, and we've been able to do this for more than 470,000 farmers across Nigeria in 26 states in Nigeria. But you don't just give input and you go and you come back during harvest period. You give input, you have people that monitor the activities to ensure that the knowledge, that's the agronomy, is adhered to. The protocol of when you apply the first fertilizer application, what you look out for in whatever you are producing, then when do you apply the aflatoxin? So when you apply the aflatoxin, it has indirectly reduced aflatoxin infestation on whatever you are producing to a minimal level that is consumable by human. So if you do all of this and you have a special consideration to moisture and not just allowing, we are in the habit of whatever heat that comes from the tarred road plus whatever sun that is coming from the hub will make your maize or your grain dry faster. In the process of doing all of this, you see cows, you see ram, sheep passing through, passing and dropping their faces on this thing. And you are not, you are still exposing yourself. So you needed to go all out on the outreach arm to be able to solve for a lot of problems. So when you have solved for this, you have reduced aflatoxin infestation, then you have to clean. So breweries doesn't just take any sorghum. There's a specification to each of them. Some will say we only take white, and it must be 98% clean. And you know, in Nigeria, what we produce, nobody can be very, very sure that he has a full kernel, fill bag of sorghum or anything. Then whatever you are taking from the market, you are taking it to a lab for a test. If the aflatoxin level is fine, you are taking it to the lab to check for some other things. Then you're taking it to like a cleaning plant, a processing or cleaning plant that can clean this sorghum to the acceptable level required by your partner. If you are not meeting up with this, you will have paid for logistics and other things, and it will get to client's location and it will be rejected. So if you have solved for this, then you are good to go. It will be accepted. You feel big, like I was part of this from production to this level, and it is accepted. You want to go back and rush back to do more. That's one. Two, in the cocoa industries today, you see a lot of people do not get to know that we don't just do anything anyhow. There's a specification to the bean form, the mid crop, the main crop, all of those bean weight, and all of those. You need to meet up with all of this before you will be accepted by even local companies in Nigeria like Mondelez and some other ones. So if you meet up with all of this, then you can say, oh, you are in the market. Then what role do you play in the market? So you need to get all of this done. Cleaning is a big part of the business. And that is a sell point to a lot of people who are more concerned about a particular niche they are selling into. That is one. Then the other, when we talk about processing, we are talking about the most sophisticated business archetype as the business of agri is concerned. And the reason why I said this is this: whatever you send out, if it is right, they use it, and there's a market, the people that you sold to, they will look back and come back for you. And there's no sales except when there's a repeat sales. You think you have closed this sales today, okay, it's fine, but the next season, they are not looking for you. That is not a sales. So you've not solved any problem. Indirectly, you've only created more problem for your partners, and they have left you. They are looking for another solution elsewhere. Then we need to look at the off-taking, just like Oyin said earlier. It needs to do more with you being able to know what the business is doing. The agri sector is big. Must everybody sell whatever you have as at the point of harvest? Today, FX operates not less than 180 warehouses across Nigeria, where farmers can go and do storage. When you do your storage, you get a receipt, a good receipt note that shows that you have a storage. And at the same time, you can do a mail to say, I want to convert my storage to an e-warehouse receipts storage, which can give you like a collateral in most of the financial institutions in Nigeria today as a farmer. So you don't need to say, I don't have a land, I don't have a car, before you assess some other things on the back of what you have produced for the market. Then you are solving more than one problem as a business. Then Oyin spoke to basics around knowledge. Agri is more than you jump to say, we have a good land today, you want to produce. After production, what are you producing? They produce one type of eagle. When the market was ready, they said, this is not the type of eagle we consume. You get? So from people's experience, we learn more and we'll be able to do a lot of things. Every poultry operator today in Nigeria wanted a yellow maize. Because of the color, it's more attractive to the chicken, but the production of yellow maize against the white maize today in Nigeria is like 85% to white and like less than 15% to yellow. And most of the yellow maize you see in Nigeria is being consumed by the roadside. You see people roasting corn, you buy, you snack on it, you move on. It's consumed. It's not even getting to the poultry sector. So they have to use some other things to turn it yellow and be able to serve the chicken. So what problem are you solving and how do you go about it? But for market, lastly, for market, there is a ready-made market for whatever you produce, provided you communicate. For the grain side of Nigeria, I can tell you for maize and everything, maize, soybeans, the only thing that will affect you will be the price. And if you think the price is not good, can you do storage? Do we know that the price of maize got to above 500,000 for this last season? A price of a ton of maize got to about 500,000 naira per ton, X the nut. Then consider logistics. People bought maize for over 500,000 to get it to the processing area along the southwest. That is from Ibadan to Lagos. You're talking from Ibadan to Shagamu to Lagos, all of those sides. And if that is the problem you want to solve, how best do you want to play? Look for storage partners that can solve a lot of problems for you. Get a receipt against whatever you are putting into their warehouse and be able to be sure you can do your due diligence before you go into. A lot of people are doing storage today, but do your due diligence before you send in your trucks there, your produce there, and you laugh at the end of the day. Solving these problems needs a lot of reasoning around where do you play, how best can you play, who is your master, and can you get mentorship from some people that have gained experience over the years.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. There's so much to learn. There's so much to... This conversation will continue. I trust that those joining us on the other platforms, Facebook, from Twitter, from YouTube, this conversation will continue. But before we end this session, I would like Oyi to help us, give us an understanding of this. We have said that there are opportunities. Kamadin just said that there's ready market. But now, the opportunities, what are the specific opportunities in this value chain? And not just what are they, I want to relate it, I want to qualify it. What will be your advice in these opportunities that you know are available in the value chain? How much do you think a starter can bring out to do this? A 1 naira, a 200,000 naira, a 500,000, what will be your advice?
Okay, so to clarify, I want to clarify your question. A starter who wants to market agriculture produce, is that the question?
Correct. The opportunities
okay.
in this
available
in the value chain, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I always tell people one thing: start where you are. And when it comes to marketing or agri-produce, there are different sides to it. There is sales, there is packaging, there is branding, there's just digital marketing, there is the logistics, there is the storage. So these are different angles that you can work with. I'm the managing partner at Admiralty Farmers Market, a farmers market located in the heart of Lekki, Lagos. And it's just about 3 months old. We are we're trying to build a solar-powered farmers market. We already have prospective partners, for example, that will have a storage unit, a central storage unit that when the farmers are unable to finish up selling of that, they can just put it there. So it depends on what you're trying to do, the problem you're trying to solve, like Kamaldeen mentioned repeatedly. What problem are you trying to solve? Also, what are the resources that you have with you? Do you have a small kitchen that you can start with? Processing, a lot of big processors started where they were. They did not, a lot of people did not start big. We do not even advise you to start big, because we want you to, when you fail, you need to fail quickly and in small ways and not on a large scale. So you can dream big, which is fantastic, have a very big vision, but it's important to start small so that when you make mistakes, you learn from them quickly and then you can move on. So what are you doing? Do you want to go into storage? It could be dry storage. It could just be a small facility that you have, you know, or somebody can give to you that you can use to store these things. A lot of people need storage spaces, whether it's dry or whether it's cold. A lot of people need to move their produce from one place to the other. You know, even if you are, for example, bringing it from the north, and then it lands somewhere in a place like Oyinbo. You know, there's a lot of stuff that comes from Oyinbo. Can you be that person that picks it up from Oyinbo to this person? So these are very little ways. Branding, packaging. Can you help people package their produce? Can you help people brand their produce? You can even be a lawyer and operate in the agri space. So there are a lot of legal things that go on in the agri space. So you can carve a niche for yourself if you're a lawyer for the agri space. So these are some of the things that you can tap into. If you have a small space, that you can ask farmers to use to sell their produce and make money from it. So there are so many, you know, angles that we think are very little or very tiny. But when you start, and then when you focus on it and you're just very consistent with it, it can grow into something really big. And always remember, I tell people, focus on your strengths, carve a niche for yourself, but more importantly, follow the money. Always follow the money because you're in the business to make money. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Follow the money.
Yes.
That is very instructive. We work for money. You are in the business to make money. Okay, so thank you so very much for the awesome presentations you have both delivered this afternoon. We would like to take a few questions and see how far we can run with it within the short time available for this. So let me quickly look at some questions that have come in. A number of them have people wanting to know a few things. But first, it says, first and foremost, I would like to know okay, I think that she has already talked about her place here. For the one wanting to make a contact with, there's Admirative Farm. They can be contacted through the Farm Fresh at Admiralty Road. She said so. But Kamaldeen, there's this question for you. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Fred.
Excellent. Do you think leveraging on the services of the Nigerian Railway will help reduce costs and enhance the logistics of agro-produce? Two, there's a second question that says, what are the resources available and technical requirements to export agro-produce to Europe and other countries?
Thank you. Let me take the first question, which is leveraging railway. I think the railway service is getting better, and we all need to know that apart from Kaduna, then I think Itape, we are to worry there about that. They have like the fast train that goes like every day. But is there a limitation to what you can put on the train per time? Then we need to study. I think visiting the railway, the Nigerian Railway Corporation will be a very good one. But in the past, even when the government pronounced that they have started using the cargo line of the Nigerian Railway, but you can see that it is not an everyday thing. The reason why I said it's not an everyday thing is this. At times you may be ready and you may have to stay like for 2-3 weeks at the railway. You park it somewhere before the cargo line will come. And if the cargo line has issues on the road, because you know a lot of them are very old, If they has issues on the road, then you still bear it. Nobody will listen to you. But what you need to consider the most is an insurance on whatever you do. An insurance on whatever you do. Good in-transit insurance for anything you are moving on the road, because there are too many pitfalls in this business that everyone, if you are a small player, you need to be very concerned about it. Even the big players are getting it too. You get so you need to play that very well. Railway, if it is small, if it is handy, today's railway can solve it. But if it is small, then you probably need to go visit, make a consultation with the Nigeria Railway Corporation Service. Then the other thing about the international market.
Yes, the second question, it says, what are the resources available and technical requirements to export agro-produce to Europe and other countries? People want to earn dollar. People want dollar. So tell them.
Let me use Oyi's slang to say, follow the money. So people want to earn dollar, and I think it's good. And for every producer, you know, what you are looking for is to ensure that you make something out of whatever you do per time. It is easier if you get the specification. So communication, just like Oyi said in the first answer, is still a key part to this. If you have, if you are into production, or you are just in between production and processing or the market. So what role are you playing? Is it this for you to just aggregate and be able to meet up with the demand of the other side? Then if you are meeting up with the demand of the production side, then you need to take into consideration quality and specification conditions for whatever you are supplying. Today, if you want to supply ginger to Europe, the specification is different from if you want to supply ginger to America. Today, the specification for cocoa for the big guys across the globe is different. What percentage of mold are you supposed to get? What percentage of slaty? What percentage of total defect? And all of those are what you should gather together and be able to meet up with. Like people like processing chocolate companies like Cargill, Barry Caliber, and all of those, they are specific to where you get it. Are you sourcing your cocoa from the green area or the rainforest or whatever? There are those parameters around it. And if you are doing it rightly, you can always get the attention of these people. There is everything possible in Nigeria today to export. Everything possible. You get register, you probably contact NEPC, you get your NSP, because for whatever you are exporting, there's an NXP side to it where you raise what you are sending and be able to pay to the government. Then you allow SGS. It's a global certified body that can give you quality specification to quality certification to whatever you are sending out of Nigeria per time. If SGS should sign what you are sending out of Nigeria today, if it takes more than 6 weeks before it gets to the other side, they still cover it for you. So it's a big one, except for life infestation and other things. So if you know all of these games, you know the right people to talk to, then you can play a vital role in the export market. But at the same time, we need to be sure that you have a proper understanding of what role you are playing and how the market pans out. There is a time to everything. If you get to the market early, it's fine for you. Probably you get it cheaper. If you get to the market late, there's time to it. You might get enough, but probably you might be closing up on your margin. Then you might the commodity you're aggregating might have exchanged more than 2 to 3 hands. Farmers are more concerned about what they produce to a large extent, but when it is moving from farmers to the first aggregator to the second aggregator, those people are concerned about what is leaving their warehouses in weight, not in quality again. So they might have introduced 1 or 2 things to it, and it becomes a problem. Today, if you check Nigeria, soybeans production I think the highest production in Nigeria is still on the Benue axis, Benue-Taraba axis. But check major processors in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria, they have more reservations around that axis because of the percentage impurity you find in the bags. So if you buy with a higher percentage impurity, what percentage are you considering to be lost in the process of putting it into quality that is acceptable by the other side? If you lose more, you are closing up, you might probably be selling at a loss before you even move it from your warehouse. So you need to consider all of this, buy right, do the right thing, follow the due diligence, and just like they will say that the sky is enough for all the birds to fly.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Only in a quick, let's see how quick you can help us deal with this. There's a question here, and it says, how can one get off-takers? There's a second one, it's related to what you said before. If we time still permits, I'll give you the question to, if the first question I'd like you to address as quick as you can is, how can one get off-takers?
How can you get off-takers?
Yes.
First, you have to understand who consumes what you have. That's the first thing. Who consumes what you have? Where are these people? Are they online? Are they in mature markets that can off-take it? Are they restaurants? Are they processing facilities? So for example, you're a producer of maize. You know that you're not taking maize to a restaurant. You are probably focusing on processing facilities. So you need to know what you have, who consumes what you have, and where they are. Is this something that can be marketed online? There's a lot of sales that goes on online these days, from agri-produce to fashion and what have you. So are you leveraging social media? Are you leveraging digital marketing? Are you leveraging your community? Are you leveraging your own knowledge? So it depends on what you're trying to sell, who can buy it, and where they are. Once you can answer these questions, then you can get your off-takers. Don't know if I answered that, address that.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Well, the second one relates to communication, as you said. It says, I am eager to understand the means of establishing market information service, because it MIS, on the value chain for export farm produce. I think you had addressed on, but if you still have anything to say, that's okay.
Okay. So there's a body in Nigeria that handles export, Nigerian Export Council, NEPC, I believe, that you can get the information you need. Also, you can talk to people that play in that space already. You can talk to people that have been there, done that. That's why the power of networking is very crucial. Maybe on LinkedIn, there's somebody that's into import and export. You can send them a cold message, a cold email to say, hey, I want to learn about this. I started this. That is how relationships are established and businesses are formed. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait in your house and wait for knowledge to come to you. Go out there and find the knowledge. Search for Nigerian Export Council. There's a lot of information regarding exports. There are people on LinkedIn. There are people online that can also, hold your hand through it. And you can also follow me on LinkedIn as well if you seek more information regarding that.
It's very good you just said that. The last line you gave now addresses a question here, and the person really wants to get that. It says, do you offer training programs? So I think even from following you, they can link up with you, but straight up, do you offer training programs?
Advisory services, not training programs. Advisory services, yes.
Excellent, thank you. In the same way and manner, Kamaldeen, please, can you say in 1 or 2 words, this person wants to know, what does Affex do? In 1 or 2 words.
Yes, Affex is a conglomerate of 3 businesses: the Affex Commodity Exchange, Affex Fair Trade Limited, and Affex Investment Limited. FX in the first place started as a commodity exchange, but there was nothing to be exchanged on the table. So we needed to start working with the farmers. Today we operate not less than 180 warehouses across 26 states in Nigeria. We have like the highest single owned holding capacity in Nigeria of not less than 560,000 metric tons holding capacity. We work with smallholder farmers. We give them input loan services, do extension services with farmers to be able for them to move up from the ladder where people assume they are to a better space where people can celebrate their effort and all of those. Then we have the commodity exchange, which serves like a marketplace where smallholder farmers can cut off the middlemen and be able to sell whatever they are producing to the processors and be able to get the power of the LPO. So it's a place where everybody can learn, where we all learn from YouTube. We work with not less than 470,000 smallholder farmers today. If you have everything that we can do together, we are open to it. Today we do not less than 11 commodities across some big value chain, and all those big processors in Nigeria, they are on our books.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Someone just followed with a very quick question. If you can answer that, that would be great. He said, I know you have said you are in 26 states, but in particular, this guy is asking, are you in Kaduna?
Kaduna is like the headquarters of our operations. We have not less than 60 warehouses in Kaduna, from Saminaka to Dokalere, to Zaria, to Makarfi, to Anchau, to every other place, Pampaida, the Millennium Development Village in Pampaida, to Pambegua, to Soba, Maigana, to Ikara, and some other places that you never believe that anybody wearing shirt will have touched before. We are there.
Thank you so very much. They don't want to let you go unless you bless them further. Oye, this is for you. Someone is saying, as a budding entrepreneur and based on your experience, what crops or commodities would you advise a young graduate to start with in the logistics business?
Good question. So in that situation, I think it's important that you get a market. Look around you and see what people consume. Find a need and feed the need. That is it. I cannot say you should go into this crop. I don't know where you are. I don't know what the resources that you have. So you need to start where you are. Find a need around you. Look around you. What do people consume, especially because you're starting on a small scale. Look around you, find a need and feed that need. That's what I would say. Some people ask this question, they'll say in another format, what's the most profitable crop to grow? No, there's no most profitable crop. It depends on various factors, agronomic practices, your market, your volume, your scale. So, it's just a question like that. So it depends on the need that you're trying to feed. So look around you and find a need, feed it. That's what I would say.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad to announce to both of you that people are reaching us, that they've just hooked up with you on the social media platforms, and they need you to accept them as friends and as your fans. If it was in the celebrity, you're actually celebrities, really. So before we end this, we would like to do something very important. We'd like to take an agripreneur's spotlight. I would like Oyi and Kamaldeen to please hang on while we take this from Chamaka. Over to you, our guys. Let's take the spotlight.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Chamaka Nduku, and I am the founder and CEO of AgroHive. Can you all hear me? Sorry.
Very well.
Hear me.
Yes, we can.
And is there a possibility that I can share the screen from my end, because it's not really clear, please? Can I just be allowed to share it? The host disabled it.
Okay, those are the engineering end. Can you hear her request? Is this something doable within the short time we have?
I think I can do it now. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Chiamaka Nduku, and I am the founder and CEO of Agro-Hive. I want to say a big thank you to the organizers of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass for spotlighting me in today's session. So I have over 10 years of experience in agriculture and also as an independent program management consultant for impact organizations across Africa and the globe. I have an educational background in animal science and technology, and then leadership development for agricultural talents. I was one of the talents. I was one of the young pioneer winners of the British American Tobacco Nigeria Foundation Farmer for the Future Awards in 2019. And since then, I have assessed a lot of opportunities, some of which include being the youngest African delegate out of 200 African delegates for the Kala Center for African Leaders in Agriculture Advanced Leadership Program, which is co-delivered by AGRA, the African Management Institute, and USAID's Policy Link. I have also won numerous awards from the Future Prize Africa, the FCMB, which I actually the first female winner and the only female winner to have actually won the Agritech Epic Pitch Award. And I've also facilitated a lot of sessions on agriculture, food systems, climate action as a speaker and panelist for organizations such as the Imperial Enterprise Lab, Open EDO, the Rockefeller Foundation, Thought for Food Foundation, and the CJ Big Data Platform. So Agro-Hive is an agri-tech company that is helping agri-food businesses solve their need of assessing agricultural talents in Africa. We discovered that in 2016, when I founded Agro-Hive, I and my team did a research, and we discovered that in Africa, a lot of agri-food businesses, they struggle with assessing resources, with linkages to inputs, and even this could be inputs, this could be money, this could even be the market, the need for selling their products. But one thing that was really not paid attention to, which is actually a very big problem in the African agri-food sector, is actually the linkage to the right skilled agricultural talents that can help them increase their productivity and their profitability. So at Agro-Hive in 2016, when we saw this big gap and this huge need in Africa, we decided to create an opportunity whereby these agricultural businesses can have the access to the skilled talents that can help them increase their productivity and profitability. But then we discovered that despite having a lot of agricultural graduates that are even willing to work for agri-food businesses, there is still a problem in the sector, which is this, that most of the agricultural graduates that are ready to work are not skilled and qualified to work for agri-food businesses. So it isn't enough to just graduate with an agri degree. We discovered that most of them lack the leadership skills, the technical skills, and the cognitive abilities to actually perform optimally at the workplace. And this has been a major problem for African agri-food businesses, because we discovered that when they hire talents, they struggle with their performance, they spend another money and another time trying to hire more talents. And to solve this problem, we designed a model that allows us to collaborate with partners to develop an upskilling program where agricultural graduates and undergraduates can be well upskilled. And we don't just do this as young talents that are trying to bridge the gap between agri-food businesses and the right talents. We collaborate with partners research institutions and individuals across the globe to build out our upskilling model. Now, what we do is, after the research, and we're also still conducting research with institutions in the United States and in Africa to really build out a right upskilling program. So after this upskilling program, we now work to place these talents, to connect them, to link them up to these agri-food businesses that are in dire need of skilled agricultural talents. And we've done this over the years, and we've seen an increase and good traction in the African countries that we've been working with. And we've also seen that for the agricultural talents, there has been a high employability rate of 55% since 2020. And this is not just for talents that are hired from Agro-Hive's platform, but this is also for talents who are actually applying for jobs, but they have gotten the skills. They have gone through an experiential learning framework, and they are well-skilled technically, programmatically. They are well-skilled to work for the right agri-food businesses. And we've also seen an increased profitability and productivity of these agri-food businesses across Africa. We've also seen that there is an increased salary pay for these agricultural talents, especially for those of them that are working with innovative organizations. We see them earn ×10 of what they could have earned if they weren't upskilled. And in addition to all of this, we've also raised grant funding. You can learn more about the impacts we are creating from our beneficiaries, from our talents, by checking out our social media platforms. And also, we cannot achieve all of this without saying thank you to all our sponsors, our partners, and the media that has always recognized our work. If you're open to collaborating with us, if you want to know more about what we're doing, especially with our current research on experiential learning for agricultural graduates and undergraduates, please feel free to contact me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Chiamaka. We appreciate that. We are glad that what started a few years back is growing this much. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much, Oyi and Kamaldeen, and thank you for finding time to prepare for this and to give us the information we need to move on with our businesses, for those who are entering and for those who are for startups and for those who are continuing. We've learned from Oyi today that you can enter from any point. You don't necessarily need to be in production. It's a whole value chain, and you can pinpoint, identify where you can play. We've understood some things about off-taker and off-taker arrangements. Thank you so much for the knowledge you've given to us. And then we have learned that we should, as much as possible, play down on suddenness. Suddenness is not good for doing off-taker and indeed logistics business. Thank you so very much. Kamaldeen, we can't thank you enough for the power of logistics we have from you, the power of storage and the power of form. And thank you for the markets that you have given us insight to, for instance, in ginger, gum arabic, and different ones you have mentioned that young people can take advantage of, and even new entrants into the business. We appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this session of the program today. We appreciate that you have been here since yesterday. Let me tell you personally, I really can't thank PSAG enough for building this farm for us. Actually, it's been a farm settlement for us since yesterday, and we will continue to be in this farmhouse till tomorrow and to get as much as we can. The session will end in a moment, and then another one will commence by 1 p.m. today. Those who still have questions, because of time, we won't be able to take all of them, but the engagement continues on the other platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Please, if you still have questions, we'll find a way to send them across to our facilitators. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the power that we have, that has been delivered to us this afternoon. Thank you. So let's give our facilitators a round of applause as we did from the beginning. If you can show love again, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oyi.
Thank you so much, Kamaldeen.
Thank you so much. Very experienced people. Thank you, Kamaldeen. It's nice hearing from you.
Thank you so much.
There's a story to be told, a future to behold. There is more to who we are than what they keep. We have love within our soul, fire in our bones. We've got everything it takes to make it keep. There's much more within our soil, more than just our oil. We can grow the food to feed the whole world square. Agriculture is the key. There's treasure in the trees. The time is now, the land is green where things heal. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours. We have everything we need. If we see, the time is now, the land is green where things heal. There are 200 million dreams, and is able to begin a spark to change the world. I see innovation everywhere. From Mama to we, got to have the land is green where things yeah, this is our mission, this is our land. Nigeria is ours. We have everything we need. If you take a look around, from the north to south, there are opportunities to make it clear. But it's all your dream is to go overseas. Tell me how you ever know what you get. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is we have everything we need. See, the time is now, it's when some person that touch you. Nigeria is ours. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours, we have everything. People only see the time, now the land is green, where these kids